Welcome back. Well, as promised on Monday night, I am delighted to be joined in the studio by Bev Pashley. Bev is one of the most valuable community members we have in our town of Crowborough. And I actually first met Bev at the Arty Time Scrap Store. And if you are a member of Crowborough community and you don't know about the Arty Time Scrap Store, all I can say is you must have been living under a rock, because it's a fabulous place. And it was one of the first places that I actually went to when I first moved to Crowborough and was looking for something cool to do with my children. Bev, welcome to the show. You are the founder and the volunteer MD of Arty Time Scrap Store and so many more things. And I'm just delighted to have you in the studio. So thank you very much for being with us.
Thanks for inviting me, Boo.
So, Bev, let's talk a little bit about, we're going to start with Arty Time Scrap Store because I know you founded it and it's such a brilliant idea. Just let's dive right in there and tell us the story of Arty Time.
Okay. Well, Arty Time started just as a Saturday art group for children to begin with. And that was mainly because I didn't like the way the curriculum was cutting arts and crafts out of the syllabus. Both of my children at the time were quite young and very creative. So I suppose I set it up mainly for them. But 20 kids regularly came every Saturday morning. And I had helpers as well. So it sort of grew from there. We started doing sessions within schools as well, and that was a way of getting people, mainly women, looking at going back into the workplace to build confidence and run their own little art session within schools. And it helped parents because it extended the school day in a fun way for the children rather than just wraparound care. Obviously, COVID sort of killed all that off. But the scrap store came from one of our volunteers called Catherine Walters. She's the manager of the scrap store. It's her baby, really. I just helped her find the venue, the money to set it up. And I do a Monday regular session volunteering to open it up. And it's gone from strength to strength. We are sort of a victim of our own success. For those that don't know what a scrap store is, people donate, businesses donate stuff that they would normally throw away. If it can be used for arts and crafts purposes, we are happy to take it.
Well, Bev, it's a treasure trove. It's just an absolute treasure trove. I mean, I've walked in there and been utterly gobsmacked. Everything from the most fabulous embroidery yarns to thousands of buttons to millions of envelopes or leather tags or wrapping paper, fabrics, stamps, paints, rulers, station. I mean, it's endless. It's almost unimaginable, the amount.
It is a brilliant resource for the town. And we have people coming from Hastings and Eastbourne, although Eastbourne have their own scrap store.
But it's not as good.
Well,
go on, you can say it.
It's probably better, to be honest, because they're at the stage now that we would like to be with our extension, because they are running their own sessions. So from running arts and crafts sessions within a purpose building with everything on tap is my idea of utopia, really. And it really helps people's mental health. That's one of the reasons that I will always wave the flag for arts and crafts, because by doing something mindfully, all your troubles just go away for a bit.
Well, Bev, I'm definitely one of those people who says, I crochet so that I don't stab people because it really does, doesn't it? It calms you down and it just gives you space to think and the tactile nature of arts and crafts is just so incredibly calming. It's wonderful.
It is. And looking at the world today, the anxieties that people have got, it's particularly troubling to see it in younger people.
Yeah.
And there's reports now saying that anxiety is starting in primary school.
Yeah.
We know teenagers had angst with exams and things like that, but to know that primary age kids are feeling anxiety as well, then there's something wrong with the system somewhere and they need to find a release. And I'm sorry to say, but screens are not the answer.
I was going to say the same thing. I mean, the bottom line is switch off the screen and actually physically do something. Yeah. I think one of the things that people seldom realize is that you are not actually being entertained by just sitting in front of a screen. You are actively being an audience for somebody else to make money. So you're really being exploited. You're not being entertained. And when you participate in something like arts and crafts, you're being creative, and you have the opportunity to actually participate instead of being an audience.
The thing with having a group, whether it's a crochet club, which we do run one, we helped set one up at the Jarvis Brook Social Club. That's still running. That's on Wednesdays 8 till 9, and it's a simple concept of those that can teach those that can't. Mm-hmm. And if you don't like crochet, bring your knitting or your embroidery. It doesn't matter. Having a knit and natter is really, really good for your soul.
Totally.
I think.
Totally. And Bev, I mean, one thing I have failed to mention here is where the Arty Time Scrap Store is, because, I mean, we have, loads of listeners in Uckfield, in Hailsham, and all over the place. And I'm sure many of them would like to visit it too. So tell us a little bit about where it is and how that came about, because that's a story in itself.
The scrap store is situated in the Jarvis Brook Recreation Ground, and it's the ex-toilet block that was closed. I've lived here since 2006, and as far as I'm aware, it's always been closed. Uh-huh. There was a brief spell where it was JB's, a sort of youth club for a while, but I believe that closed down, well, maybe around 2006, to be fair. So I contacted Wealden, because they're the owners of the recreation ground and the building, and they basically said, yeah, you can take it, as long as you do the upkeep, we'll give you a peppercorn rent on that. Mm-hmm. And that's where we've been since we opened 2019.
Wow. So, I mean, effectively, you've been going 6 years there, which, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah. I mean, people, when they find out about us, I do get told off sometimes. Why haven't I known about this before? and I suppose it's because it is quite small. It's only 12 square feet. And that's why we've got a campaign to try and extend it, because we are fit to bust. People like to donate potentially more than they want to take. However, we do have a lot of schools and nurseries. I mean, their budgets have been cut so much, but if their budgets are cut, then something has to give, and we don't want it to be the arts and crafts, especially in the young. They need that.
Totally.
I mean, I'm noticing older kids, because I've helped at a youth club, hand-eye coordination is not very good anymore.
Yeah. And
it is because we've taken that out of their curriculum, really.
Yeah.
They ought to be doing more play, more hands-on, and what's wrong with having a creative career?
Oh, God, it's the best, isn't it? It's absolutely, if you really want to enjoy your life, have a creative career.
Exactly. And actually, when you look at the revenues it brings into the country, it brings in more than the fishing industry. Not that I'm slamming the fishing industry.
No, totally.
But, it gets overlooked as an unnecessary thing to do, and it isn't. It's vital.
Well, for someone like me, I mean, obviously that I'm originally from South Africa, and one of the things which has been so eye-opening moving to the UK has been just the depth of history and talent and creativity and so on. I mean, you have resources like the V&A or the Young V&A, etc., which are literally devoted to, the exploration and celebration and history of creative culture, which is extraordinary to me. I mean, we have nothing like that in South Africa. And so you already have this tremendously deep, rich culture to draw from. And it seems like an incredible pity to just let that fall by the wayside and not actively encourage people to just delve into their imaginations and give it a go. It doesn't matter what it is, whether it's, cutting and sticking or pottery or crochet, sewing, knitting, painting, finger paint. It doesn't matter.
It's just an expression.
Yeah.
It makes your heart feel good, your soul feel good. It doesn't matter if it's the process.
Totally.
not the product that actually helps and heals.
I could not agree with you more. Now, tell me a little bit about how you're planning to expand it, because you were just talking about that in terms of expanding the building, I guess, and therefore the offering.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking for... We are fit to bust. So we do need a bigger premises so we can take more donations, so it won't go to landfill, and we can invite people in to actually do in-house hands-on arts and crafts sessions. And to make the building sustainable, we could even hire it out to artists who want to run their own workshops.
Oh, how wonderful.
Well, in a fit-for-purpose building.
Yes.
I mean, we have done, mainly for a PR point of view, we have done Halloween events, Christmas events, mainly arts and crafts for families, young children. And that gets our names out there of what we're trying to do. But I'm getting a bit old now for carrying everything up to a different venue, tarping the floor in case we get paint on the floor. I mean, they're good sessions, but I would definitely want to have it in a purpose-built building.
Okay. We're going to talk a little bit more about that journey in just a moment. But Bev, before you came on the show, we asked you to line up a couple of your favorite songs. And the first one we're going to play, I'm going to ask you to introduce it, and you're going to tell me why this particular one is so special to you.
Okay. Well, one of my favorite songs is Sweet Home Alabama. And it's just the riff at the beginning. It really puts a smile on my face. If I'm feeling down in the dumps, this is the song that I put on.
Excellent. Well, here it is. Turn up the volume. Leonard Skinner. Here we go. Welcome back. Okay, Bev, we were talking before the break about the Arty Time Scrap Store and the need to expand it. You were talking about being fit to bursting. I want to just ask you a little bit about who is actually donating all these incredible resources. I mean, when I think about the stuff that you actually have in the scrap store that could be used for arts and crafts. I mean, everything from stationery and fabric to yarn and wool and knitting needles and crochet needles and stamps and paints. And I mean, it just goes on forever. Who is actually donating all this wonderful stuff?
Well, everyone and everyone, I think. What we find is, well, I know for certain, crafters are hoarders.
Yes, guilty as charged.
I have to put my hand up for that.
Me
one.
too.
and I think that's a trait in anyone who's into arts and crafts. So when they're having a clear out, rather than binning it, they will give it to us.
Okay.
I mean, sadly, you've got people who can no longer do the craft, their eyes or their bodies fail, and so they get rid of things as well. We do have businesses that send us donations as well. Waitrose really helped in the beginning and gave us all their signs that they used to hand out.
Oh, okay.
Things like that. I mean, I suppose they can put it in a chipper, but, you know, if someone else can get use, it's that circular reusing element of it. We have a business who decorates the big houses Christmas time. They also do the Victoria Centre in Tunbridge Wells, and they have things that they need to offload, and rather than binning it, it might as well come to us.
Like, you mean like Christmas baubles and tinsel and all that kind of wonderful stuff?
So anyone next year when they're running, I mean, a lot of PTAs do wreath making, churches do wreath making, come and have a visit. You get all your stuff, you don't need to buy anything.
I mean, it's mind-blowing to me. It's just incredible when you consider like the cost of Christmas decorations when actually you could be recycling stuff which is donated. Like, that blows my mind. Mm-hmm. Bev, for people who are interested in coming to the scrap store and making use of your services, you have some sort of membership program? Yeah,
you can join online. We've got a website. It's artytime.co.uk. And you click to be a member of the scrap store. That supports us. We're all volunteers, but we do have costs.
Of course.
Utilities. the rent, insurance. So the £30 for an individual. If it's a group like a nursery or a school, then it's 50. And that's for the year, and you can come as often as you like and take what you want.
I mean, what a joy, and what an extraordinary resource for the community. Speaking about community, Bev, you are someone who is deeply passionate about community in general. In fact, when I said to you, like, how do we introduce you? What do we call you? You said, well, it's something community. Not completely sure what, but right next to the Arty Time Scrap Store, or kind of actually, the scrap store is based in the Jarvis Brook Recreation Ground, and there's a skate park there. And that's another one of your projects.
Yes, for my sins. I think it was 2020, just before COVID. There was a lot of illegal graffiti on the skate park. And we had a brilliant graffiti artist called Julian, who goes by the name of Jay's Paint Shop. And he came along and worked with the kids. We were doing a youth engagement project at the time.
Right.
And he did the back of our building. We've got a mural on there. And then they said, wouldn't it be good if we could decorate the skate park? So we got all the relevant permissions, and we came up with a design with the kids involved. And Julian obviously had to do the design so that the powers that be could accept it as been appropriate. And then one summer holiday, we all did it. It's like a giant colouring book, if you like. And that lasted for maybe 5 years. It was a brilliant dragon with fish and an octopus and turtles. And then sadly, with the weather, 5 years, it does get a little bit, what would you say?
Well, it just starts to look a bit tired after. Yeah. I mean, we do live in a fairly harsh climate in Crowborough, in particular. And
that's when some more illegal graffiti started occurring. Right. So another artist who's moved into the area, she's a mural artist called Lily Dimitri. She came on board, and we did it last year. In the summer holidays, and that's what we've got now with the flowers and the bees and the butterflies. Again, a whole new set of kids were involved, because I was volunteering at a youth club at the time. That's where we got the ideas from them of what sort of pictures should be on there.
Right.
And we spent the summer doing that, which was really good.
Absolutely fantastic. And I think there's something incredibly powerful about putting a paintbrush in the in the hand of a child. I did that backwards. In the hand of a child, and giving them permission to paint on a wall. Because as you're growing up, the thing your parents consistently say to you is, don't draw on the walls. And now someone's literally giving you a paintbrush and saying, go for it. There's something incredibly empowering about that for a child.
I mean, I know some people don't maybe understand street art, but it's better than the illegal graffiti.
Totally.
And it is, I mean, I go to Southend quite a lot, and there's quite a lot of buildings with murals on them, and it's really nice to see. It brightens the place up, and once people realise that a lot of work has gone into that, they're less likely to illegal graffiti on top of it. And I saw an interesting one. There was some boards, because the building was being done up, that hadn't got anything on it. There's all the illegal graffiti.
There.
So if you give permission and have nice works of art, then... And also these guys might actually learn to do art rather than just daub.
Exactly. I mean, I think that there's something just really, it's kind of very powerful doing public art, and there's a wonderful tunnel in London. It's just near Guy's Hospital, Guy's and St Thomas's, which is all, it's literally a tunnel that you go through, and they call it the graffiti tunnel, but it's not really graffiti. It is street art, exactly like you're saying, these incredible murals where people have just been given permission, actually, to create these enormous, large-scale murals. And it's really inspiring to see that sort of work and realize, public expression on that really large scale with amazing colors and so on is very inspiring, actually.
It is.
It's very special.
I mean, getting back to the skate park, the kids that did the first mural, they were the ones who were saying, wouldn't it be good if we could extend the skate park?
Ah.
So there's an idea, isn't there? So I got a skate park design group to come down and have a look to see if it would be possible to extend rather than smash it up and start again, which would be even more money. And Beaton Park have been involved, and thankfully last year, September, we managed to get planning permission that we can go ahead and extend that skate park. When I say we, it was Arty Time's name on the application. Mm-hmm. However, Arty Time cannot build that on its own. It needs funding.
Right.
And I'm looking for anyone in the skating community who could come forward to help. I don't skate personally. I'm too old to actually learn now. So I'm more than happy to help, and Arty Time will help. But this has to be a real big community effort to try and get that extended.
How much money do you need?
Keeps going up, but last count you're looking at 300,000.
Oh wow! And what is the bulk of that cost? Is it earthworks? Pretty much,
yeah. Because when Liz Truss was in power, something happened along the way, and then everything skyrocketed, didn't it, if you remember? And it's not gone back down, and nothing never does it? I mean, the quote we had was 149 when we first, back in 2020. That was the estimate cost. And then whatever happened to the economy, whoa.
Wow.
So, and, I know everyone is feeling the pinch these days, so it's very difficult to try and raise community funds now.
I want to actually just touch on that briefly, because you seem to have been remarkably successful in terms of fundraising and organizing and all this sort of thing. I know you sat on the town council for some time. You've had an opportunity to sort of see things a bit more from the inside and understand how they work and the permissions you need and that sort of thing. Where has been your most successful area in which you've been able to raise funds?
I mean, most of the funding that I have had was just to get Arty Time rolling. So a bit of seed funding came from something called the Sparks Fund, which doesn't exist anymore. A lot of my project funding, like getting the crochet and the sewing group that we've got going now, and various setting up the after-school art clubs and things like that, came from Sussex Community Foundation.
Okay, brilliant.
All these are very small pots. You're looking maybe maximum 5,000.
Right.
The biggest one for the scrap store getting altered and getting set up was the National Lottery Fund.
Right.
And I must do a shout out for the Make It Happen group and AIRS, which is Action in Rural Sussex, really helped me with that funding, which was to get us through phase 1 of getting the planning permissions for the scrap store and the skate park extensions. Without them, we wouldn't be anywhere.
Right. Well, it's so good to hear that, you were able to make it happen, because it is this extraordinary community resource. Now, your next song, we want to give you an opportunity to play some of your favorite bits of music. So tell us about this one. Intro your next one.
Tub thumping. It's not going to be everyone's favourite, is it?
I think you'd be surprised. I think there are a lot of tub thumping fans out there.
It takes me back to when we were struggling, coming out of university and then trying to get a job. And it's the chorus. You get knocked down and you get up again.
They're never going to get you down.
It's all about resilience.
There you go. A song about resilience. Here is Chumbawamba with Tub Thumping. Ashdown Radio, welcome if you've just joined us. I'm Boo Prince, and we are in conversation this evening with the lovely Bev Pashley. Bev is an absolute community powerhouse in the town of Crowborough. She was the founder of the Arty Time Scrap Store. She's made huge strides towards extending the community skate park and done murals there and so on. But Bev, that's not the only thing, as if you didn't have enough on your plate. Those are not the only things you've been doing in Crowborough. There is a new development that I know you've been involved in that I'm very, very keen to hear about, because it's something completely unrelated to, arts and crafts and skating. And that's the station hub. Tell us about that.
The Crowborough Hub will be, when we get it refurbished, a permanent home for the community pantry, which is part of the Green Transition groups. So is Arty Time Scrap Store. Mm-hmm. And we'll also have a hireable space for the community as well.
So kind of like a community hall? Or
yeah, on a smaller scale, okay. I guess. And the reason why I'm involved was I heard on the grapevine back in 2021 that the disused part of the station, the railway companies were looking at offering it to the community. Mm-hmm. And as I was looking at the time for a bigger place for the scrap store, I obviously bobbed along and had a look. The way it's formatted, because it's room after room after room with no corridor and it's not big enough to put a corridor in. It'd be detrimental to the space. I realised quickly that it's not right for scrap store. But when they were offering a peppercorn rent of £100 a year...
Oh, wow.
I thought, I can't let that pass for the community. So I spoke to Green Transition and any other community-minded people who would be willing to come on board to form a committee, mm-hmm. so that we can get this through. Because what you have to remember with any volunteer work, anyone can have an idea, but it takes an army of people to believe in that idea and get it done.
Absolutely. Massive undertaking. So what is the full vision for the hub, aside from the community pantry and a hireable space? Are there other things that you would be putting in there or offering?
When we did our consultation with the community, we sent like a survey out to find out what the community actually wanted the building to be used for. And not surprisingly, the community pantry came up one of the main ones that the people wanted to see. I know where they're situated at the moment isn't the best for parking. And all those ladies, all those volunteers do a sterling job.
They really do.
And again, it's all about waste, isn't it? Why put food in landfill when you've got empty tummies, And they're doing all they can to help raise money to get the building refurbished. There's an urgency now, I believe. I don't think it's a secret, but they've been given notice on the premises that they're in.
Okay.
So there is more of an urgency to try and get this building into some sort of shape so that they can move in. But
and on that front, just because you're saying there is a certain amount of urgency, if anybody listening could, potentially donate or somehow help or wants to get in touch, who should they speak to? Should they be speaking to you, or should they be getting hold of the pantry directly?
They can go direct to the pantry. I'm sure they've got a donation page somewhere. But the community hub, they can donate direct to the community hub as well. I'll have to give you the email address.
That's fine.
Later,
that's no problem.
Because it's escaping me at the moment. I think it's communityhub@gmail.com. You might have Crowborough in there. That's a long one.
That's okay. We'll get it from you, and we'll put it in.
But from the visionary element of it, we need places that people can hire for various things that they might want to do. We know that we've got a high home education community in the whole of Sussex, and that includes Crowborough. More and more people are pulling their kids out of school for whatever reason, and they will need rooms to do tutoring and things like that. We've also got getting back to the arts, Crowborough Arts. They're always looking for space for the open studios and things like that. And a lot of them do lessons as well, so they need rooms that they can afford to do that. Hopefully, if the scrap store gets extended, they'll use that. But if they don't, then there's another potential place. Looking at services, we know that Uckfield has a family hub, but Crowborough doesn't. And it probably is because they have nowhere to run it.
Yeah.
That's affordable.
And you know, Bev, I mean, when I look right across Crowborough and see things like, you know, threats to, you know, the permanent closure of the birthing centre and this type of thing, it seems like so many of these community services are under threat. And I feel like as a community, we need to be proactive in pushing back against things closing and actually make our voices heard, raise money and you know, seek to build the community as opposed to just throwing our hands in the air and going, oh, well, that's a bit sad kind of thing.
I think people are beginning to find their voice. I mean, I think there has been a lot of apathy, and that's just a sign of the times, you know, the way the world is at the moment. But I think people are beginning to realise that if they want something, they have to make their voice heard.
Yeah.
And the best way to do that is in a group.
Now, this is a very interesting conversation because, I mean, your entire career has not been in sort of community organising and fundraising and all this kind of stuff. I mean, you're clearly a very creative person. What do you think has been kind of the major spark which has ignited this side of you? Because you're clearly very good at it.
I think I was taught from my parents that if you have a problem, don't come to me with your problem, come with a solution. And that's how I think. You know, if I see something that isn't quite right, what can I do to make that better?
But having said that, there are an awful lot of armchair critics and analysts out there who will, you know, even verbalize a solution but won't, you know, get out of the armchair to make it happen. But you are not that person. You are the person who actually goes and puts in the application to the National Lottery or whatever. So there's something different about you, Bev.
I don't have a fear of failure. I don't care if I fail. At least I know I tried. And so many people, I suppose, again, this is social media, how things look, and people maybe are fearful that if they try and fail, they end up with egg on the face. So what? Wipe it off, crack on.
Yeah. I love that. Wipe it off and crack on. I think that should be a bumper sticker. Do you think some of that comes, again, from your parents and your upbringing?
I guess so. I mean, you know, I didn't come from an affluent area or, you know, I'm a council house kid. Mm-hmm. But we had strict morals and boundaries, and I suppose that stood me in good stead. We were always told there's no such thing as a free ride.
Yeah.
So if you want it, work for it.
And there's also something to be said about being part of a post-war generation that, you know, your parents and grandparents and so on. I mean, people went through the mill in this country in a really, really big way. And I can't help but feel like an awful lot of young people just don't have that same sense of really just grit and resilience and toughness of just going, we will get through this and we will make it better.
Oh, this is an...
Am I controversial?
No, this is a topic for another time. Don't get me started. I think it's the system, isn't it? You know, we've had a nanny state for so long. You know, when you ban conkers in the playground because it might hurt somebody, it's not going to put them in hospital. But, you know, we have gone too far the other way. And therefore we're seeing a generation that maybe doesn't have the resilience.
Yeah.
Unless they've got it from their parents, because they got it from their parents.
Yeah.
I don't know. That is controversial, I guess, because everyone parents in a different way. That's right for them.
I do think, though, that, and this is part of what I love about, you know, things like the Arty Time Scrap Store and the skate park and so on, is that giving kids an environment where we say to them, just give it a go. You know, it doesn't matter if you fall off your skateboard. It doesn't matter if your art project, your craft project or whatever, it doesn't work out. You don't need to undo. You need to work through. Yeah? Give it a go. Like you just said, you know.
Yeah.
Wipe it off and crack on.
Yeah. I think from an art point of view, people... And I think it is the education system to a way, because they're taught to the test and they don't want to fail.
Yeah.
And it's almost like failure is bad. And failure isn't bad. Failure is the learning.
Yes.
Because you learn from your mistakes.
Yes. And
then you can readapt and redo and have another go. You only fail if you stop.
You know, there's something else in that as well, in that you have to work through things. You can't figure it out or know that there's a perfect end unless you get in amongst it, right? And that is the thing around kind of art and craft and whatever, is very often you can't envision a perfect outcome. There is no such thing as a perfect score. It is the process of doing and making that gives you a result, and it's a process of problem solving.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'd agree with that.
Cheers to that.
I mean, from my own art experience now, when I was at art college, I wanted to paint like a photograph. And now I think, why would I want to do that? I'll just take a photograph. The art for me is what's inside and transposing that onto a canvas.
Oh, I love that. I love that. We're sadly out of time, Bev. I have loved talking to you, and may your projects go from strength to strength, because your projects are really to the benefit of the entire community. So thank you so much for everything you do. Thank you for your time. I know this is one of your favorite songs. You said it's really special to your family. Go on, tell us what it is.
It's Run to the Hills by Iron Maiden.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.